injured in an accident, you need a lawyer, and you deserve an advocate. Because every accident has a ripple effect. It affects your time, your health, your ability to make money, everything. That's where the advocates can help. Thanks to our decades of experience, we know what your case is worth, and we'll fight to get you every penny you deserve. Consultations are simple and always free, because you're not just a client to us, you're a person, and you deserve the best help you can get. You deserve an advocate.
This is The Monty Show, the truth in sports talk streaming. When you want unbiased opinions about your favorite team without the spin, all you have to do is find The Monty Show, streaming live and available 24 hours a day, 7 days a week on YouTube. And now, here's Monty.
All right, The Monty Show, presented by The Advocates. TheAdvocates.com, the best injury attorneys in the business. Less than a week to go until the Advocates host their blood drive right here in their Salt Lake City offices. Make sure you get to redcross.org. No matter where you watch the show, Red Cross, donate blood. Use the sponsor code AdvocatesSLC. I love partnering with the Advocates because they're always in the community. They don't leave you to do anything on your own. In critical situations, you can count on the Advocates.
Dude.
Exactly. TheAdvocates.com, where you can always chat with one of the best injury attorneys in the business. In the business at TheAdvocates.com, and it won't cost you a dime. Chat with an injury attorney right now at TheAdvocates.com. 365, 24/7 and stuff. Good morning, Jake. What is wrong with you? What is wrong with you?
Bro,
What?
Chill out today. You're in a weird place today.
No, I'm not. I know that you were up all night making tacos and stuff. I mean, I just want you to rest. Take it easy. Don't overexert yourself.
Making tacos.
Well, that's what you said you did all night.
No, I said that's what I had for dinner.
I'm guessing it was all night, but it's fine. It's fine. How'd you do on Prize Picks last night?
Terrible. Lost all three. Are you happy?
No, you didn't lose all three.
Yeah, I did.
I know you're a victim. That's not the screen grab you sent me last night when you were gloating thinking you were going to win.
Because Buddy wasn't done yet.
Kelly Olynyk.
Yeah.
Did he finish with 7 more rebounds?
Pretty sure.
Oh, did he really?
Let me check.
Good. I hope you lost, you prick. I went 3 for 2 on, which is to say I won 2 or 3 last night.
Yeah, he had 6 rebounds. I still lost.
So you didn't get swept out.
I still lost.
Right,
Didn't win anything.
But you lost 2 or 3. I won 2 or 3.
Yeah.
thanks to Luka being a selfish jerk. A lot of NBA talk coming up. A month. Can you guys believe we're a month away from the end of the NBA season? Luka tried to get another 30-point triple-double. That didn't really happen against my Chicago Bulls. We're a dominant force that loses games by 60. But Luka does not get, repeatedly beaten into the ground or anything.
Sure.
Such as in one quick NBA note. Did you guys see that Donovan Mitchell did not play last night? He is now ineligible for all NBA, any postseason award.
Mm-hmm.
He is ineligible because of how many games he's missed. Has that rule worked out?
I mean, it doesn't feel great now that we're talking about it, but I think it's, I think to win individual awards, you have to be durable. I think the league doesn't want guys sitting out constantly and then, winning all these individual awards. And I think that, last year we saw load management at the highest level it's been in quite some time. Guys sitting out when they shouldn't be, and I just think the league had to do something about it. So now it's like, oh, we're supposed to cry a river when Donovan Mitchell can't win an individual, an award. And,
but it's like Joel Embiid.
Yeah. Well, Joel, but the difference is Joel's been actually hurt with a significant thing, so to me.
So Donovan hasn't?
I mean, not really. He's been around.
He's got a bone bruise in his knee.
Yeah, well.
It
is what fine. It is. I think that's the difference. That's the difference, right? I'm not saying that Donovan Mitchell is faking an injury or doesn't want to play. That's not what I'm saying. But what I am saying is if you want to be awarded on an individual basis, durability is part of it. So if you have a bone bruise and you can't play, then you can't win awards.
Okay.
It is what it is.
Big Daddy Magic, the official Victor Wembanyama. I'm hoping that last night.
Are you ready to have a new player to be a fan of? Because I don't think Victor walked out of that building alive.
No, I believe he's dead.
Yeah.
Victor's the way.
After he was ended by somebody you've never heard of.
Yeah.
Did you caress his, his forehead as you cuddled him while he cried last night, Big Daddy Magic? I mean, did you guys see Victor Wembanyama got absolutely torched?
Yeah.
At the rim.
Yeah.
And not only that, the worst part about that was that it was a guy with 3 names. You got posterized by a guy with 3 names. Trace Jackson Davis posterized Victor Wembanyama last night. All 9'16" of Victor's wingspan.
Just a stalwartness.
Meant nothing last night as he got put on a poster.
And I love how everyone's like, oh, it's fine. He's a rim protector. He affects a lot of shots. This is going to happen.
And look, Big Daddy Magic, listen, the Bills suck. Victor can't defend. I understand it's a tough morning for you.
Well, that's the issue, isn't it?
It's a tough morning for you. We get it.
What are you going to do? I mean,
he also says it's really sad 1 month away from being the greatest rookie season in the history of the universe. And please tell me who is the dominant, beloved rookie of the year. Say his name. And I agree. Trace Jackson Davis is the absolute dominant rookie of the year. I mean, after that performance we saw, and the best part about that dunk was it was a right-handed tomahawk where Victor never saw him coming. Oh, wait, no, that's right. They started on the perimeter. Victor ran all the way down the paint with them. And this guy with 3 names dunked all up in his shit with his left hand. With his left hand.
I thought you said Buddy's first name was Trace.
It was Trace Jackson Davis.
Okay, if you're going to have 3 names, can you at least make them flow a little bit? Trace Jackson Davis doesn't exactly have, a ring to it.
Well, I mean, he plays 13 minutes a game. He's a household name. How does it not roll right off the...
How do you not know TJD, dude? Come on.
That's what I'm asking. We should probably...
Dude, TJD detonated on Victor, bro. Come on.
And you'll notice Big Daddy Magic down there in the corner, his avatar. That's him and Victor Wembanyama last couple of weeks ago here in Salt Lake City.
Hey, you start talking shit.
So, Oh my God, here we go with this Victor bullshit at 6 a.m. It's too early for this.
Stay hard.
It is. It is too early for this.
But Gary, as a Spurs fan, we thought that it would be good to pay homage to your team. You know, we know that you're a big Spurs fan.
Right? Mike Smith doesn't have a problem with it. Maury Alvarez makes a great point. A new Victor poster was made.
Yeah.
Which is different than murked.
Yeah.
Which is what happened to Victor last night. Which is fine. Don't blame the dude for the parents' mistake. Exactly right. Exactly right. Exactly
I
right.
just feel bad for dude. Like Trace something that flows a little bit. Like Shea Gilgeous-Alexander flows a little bit.
Left-handed. By the way, Tom Zicker B. Axton.
Again with the names.
Cyber Monkey. Tom says, I love regular tacos and pink tacos. You know, Big Daddy Magic. Hey, playa. Victor was named Rookie of the Month in February, our beloved birth month.
Cocaine is a hell of a drug.
That's great. That's great.
He won't even acknowledge it.
It is. He goes past it. Mike Smith also says, Monty giving away free tacos on Taco Tuesday, so hit that like button. I agree. Hit the like button. Good morning, Maury Alvarez, our favorite Floridian, is in. OG Gary, hopefully Justin Jefferson and Higgins signed for my Saints. Never going to happen. And isn't Justin Jefferson, he's not a free agent, I don't think. I could be wrong. Speaking of Justin Jefferson and free agency, NFL free agency day one. What was the biggest story in free agency to you? Was it this whole Saquon Barkley drama in New York?
I think it has to be. I mean, I think Saquon was clearly the biggest name that, got moved. I mean, obviously Kirk Cousins in Atlanta. You had some other guys that got picked up, but I think the Saquon situation is really interesting because Saquon Barkley, obviously led a class of running backs who got paid yesterday, right? Who signed agreements and got it going. And to me, I look at this and I say, number one, the running back room, if you will, in the NFL needed a good free agency period. And that's exactly what we got. And I think that Saquon Barkley is someone who, if he stays healthy, that's a game changer for Philly, for sure. I mean, that's a guy that can take the pressure off of Jalen Hurts a little bit. He can break a game open. Like, we all know what Saquon's capable of. So that is why guys like, Tiki Barber are pissed off that he went to Philly, right? Obviously, going from the Giants to Philly, say less, right? We all know that rivalry. We know what that is. But for someone like that to say that, Saquon, you're dead to me, I think that's a little bit extreme. And I think it's extreme, especially nowadays when we don't really see one-team guys anymore. That's not really the culture of sports. That's not really the way contract negotiations work anymore. And really, the only guys who are one-team players are quarterbacks. That's pretty much it. You look at, like LeBron, when he came into the league, everyone was like, oh, he's going to be in Cleveland forever. And then the decision happened and shocked the world. Right? Like, we don't really have one-team guys anymore. So I'm not sitting here like all upset with Saquon that he went to Philly. Frankly, he went to a better situation. And whether that was the Eagles or another team that actually has a chance to win a Super Bowl, I'm not going to blame this guy for going out, A, getting the bag, and B, getting a chance to win a Super Bowl. I'm not going to be that guy. I think it's absolutely the right decision for him. And I also think that, for him, you knew that there was going to be some criticism if you went to Philly from the Giants. So I thought it was kind of low cash to be saying things like, you're dead to me and this is ridiculous. But, that's Giant fan.
I think Tiki Barber's has always been an attention hound. And I think that's what this was. But I also think that Saquon opened the door for that by going to Philadelphia. That's not the smartest thing I think he's done, but where else was he getting $26 million guaranteed? I mean, you weren't getting that from Dallas. You probably were not going to get that from any of the other major contenders for running backs. Clearly, if you're going to stay in that division, you're not going to Washington, who signed Austin Eckler, by the way. you're going to the Giants. I am a little surprised that Dallas didn't at least make a push. Now, Jerry Jones is not the guy that is out in NFL free agency every single year, but I think this was one of those classes where you had game changers available, and I think that Saquon Barkley going to the Eagles was a very good move for the Philadelphia Eagles. I think this is exactly the guy that you needed. I think that this is a team that has to, right out of the gate, with all of the changes that Nick Sirianni made on his staff, and all of the changes in leadership with Kelsey and Cox retiring, I think he absolutely had to make a big splash in free agency and show the NFL world that you're still Super Bowl contenders. I think Philadelphia absolutely achieved that. I think one of the more interesting moves was Josh Jacobs to the Packers, which frees up Aaron Jones, and I think that's exactly where the Dallas Cowboys swoop in. They have never been, and I shouldn't say never, but in recent years, the Dallas Cowboys generally do not do much big splash-wise in free agency. And I think Aaron Jones is that perfect guy that fits in Dallas and fills a void and does so quite capably. I agree with them letting Tony Pollard go. I think that was probably the right decision to be made. I think you don't pay running backs big money in this league and expect to win. And I think that Aaron Jones is a guy that you can get at a better price tag. But make no mistake about it, Saquon Barkley did exactly what all of us would have done. He got that bag, and he's going to contend for a Super Bowl this year, one would think. Now, is Nick Sirianni a leader? I don't think so. I think it was a terrible decision to keep him on as their head coach, but they did. And now you got to surround him with talent that he believes he can mold into a winning culture. We'll see if that actually plays out. But unequivocally, the only losers here are absolutely nobody. Because the Giants did the right thing not paying Saquon. Saquon did the right thing getting paid, and the Eagles needed an upgrade at running back, Jake. And I think all three of those entities won.
Yeah, and I think you make a great point about Nick Sirianni and his situation. I mean, we talked all about that on the show when it happened. Like, you know, me certainly, I'm surprised that you kept Sirianni on given the situation. And so, you know, with that being the case, I maintain if you're going to go out and pick up a Saquon Barkley level player for your offense, man, that offense better be cooking. And I think that, you know, when you lose a guy like that on your offensive line, that would be the next logical step, in my opinion. Go out and make sure your offensive line is as good as it can possibly be. And if you do that, that should really sort of catapult you forward because you have good wide receivers. Now you've got a good running back. You've for sure got good quarterback play. Eagle fan will tell you that Jalen Hurts fell off last year and is garbage now. And I'm here to tell you the guy had one not even bad year, just a mediocre year by his standards. And that was because your team was very tired and had played a lot of football. So I would expect Jalen Hurts to be right back to MVP Jalen Hurts, right back in the middle of that playoff picture. And yeah, if you're the Cowboys watching this go down, yeah, you for sure better go out and get a running back. You for sure better get better. I mean, I don't know how else to put it for Cowboy fan, because again, you know, you can't have a situation where you lose a guy like Diggs on defense this past season and you just seemingly can't find your way through the playoffs. And I think that's why it was so bitter for Cowboy fan to lose to the Packers like that. Now you've gone into the offseason. The Eagles are doing what they're doing. What are you doing to counter that move?
I think that the Cowboys have some financial issues. So I think you are probably wise to be sitting out. Listen, I think you look at where these running backs went, like you look at Josh Jacobs to the Packers. That's a good move. That's a risky move. That is a risky move. Derrick Henry is a free agent. I don't think Derrick Henry has a whole bunch of fits across this league, right? I don't see him as a guy that fits into everybody's offense. I look at, a guy like Devin Singletary replacing Saquon Barkley. He's capable. Is it spectacular? No, but he comes at a much better budget, right? I think a lot of these moves are pragmatic. Is Austin Eckler somebody the Washington Commanders and their fans should be excited about? Not really. But is that a crippling move? No, he'll be a productive back. Mm-hmm. He will be. Tony Pollard to the Titans. Is that really an upgrade? I don't know that you can say that's really an upgrade. The other question I have is like I look at at Zach Moss to the Bengals?
That's a really interesting one, man. I think that, Zach is clearly capable, but he's also not the play it out wide type back. He's the guy that he can do that once in a while, but he's much more of a run behind the offensive line and break guys off, at the second level type back.
Yeah, I think the running backs wound up in the right spot most of the time.
Yeah.
I do. My biggest question is Kirk Cousins to the Atlanta Falcons. That's a lot of bread, dude. Like you're guaranteeing that guy triple digits, and that's something that I'd be a little concerned about. And if I'm Kirk Cousins, and again, I'm not trying to be a jerk about it, but if I'm Kirk Cousins, are you really telling me that the Falcons is the right spot for you?
I think by football logic, yeah, probably not the greatest spot for
Did you
Kirk
step
Cousins,
up
but...
leaving Minnesota to go to Atlanta?
No, but I think the problem for him is that he never really did it much. I mean, he filled up a stat sheet, and he always has and always will, right? I mean, I'm not questioning the guy's talent. I think the question for Kirk Cousins is, A, what's the wide receiver room going to look like when the offseason's over in Atlanta? Number one, A. And then B, what is Kirk Cousins coming off this Achilles? Because, the Achilles rehab and the Achilles process is not what it used to be. I mean, it's still vigorous, and you still got to put a ton of work in to be ready to go. But it's not like if you tore your Achilles, that used to be like auto career over. You're done. Like, yeah, death. Like, so I don't know. I'll be curious to see, like, what's Aaron Rodgers like? What's Kirk Cousins like? Like, these older quarterbacks who clearly are productive, who clearly can still help you win. But what's the difference? Aaron Rodgers is in New York, has some talent around him. In Atlanta, you don't exactly have a ton of talent there, which brings me back to what OG Gary said in the comment section. The Justin Jefferson situation. Justin Jefferson has plainly said, hey, if you keep Kirk Cousins, yeah, I'll be more inclined to sign a big-time deal with you guys. Now that's not happened. So does that mean that Justin Jefferson is just going to play the market? I would.
Well, I think you have to ask for a trade. I mean, let's stop getting confused. He's under contract and under control of the Minnesota Vikings. He's got to ask for a trade. Sam Darnold does not exactly light the world on fire. That's who the Vikings signed this morning.
Yeah.
And I think if you're Justin Jefferson, you're not probably very willing to have another mediocre season. I'm interested to see what happens in Minnesota, because I think you don't have a replacement, but again, I simply state, who are the Super Bowl champions that go out and make these huge splashes in free agency?
Right.
That generally doesn't happen. I mean, I look at the Kansas City Chiefs, largely sat out, but they re-signed their guy in Chris Jones. That's what pragmatic moves look like. And I think teams like the Chiefs, you have to upgrade your skill positions, right? They're going to make moves at wide receiver. I think there's no question about that. But are you going to do that in free agency? Are you going to make trades? Are you going to address that in the draft somehow? There are ways to do that without screwing yourself on the cap. And again, you can be Kansas City, or who had the worst day yesterday? Probably the Carolina Panthers. Again, trading your best player on your roster and not getting a first-round pick for Burns is shocking. It is. Brian Burns is one of the best defensive ends in the NFL, and you traded him for a 2024 second-round pick, a fifth-round pick, and a fifth-round pick next year. That's it? That's all you got. And you sent out a fifth-round pick this year with him.
How?
And you did the same thing for Christian McCaffrey. This is an abject failure by the Carolina Panthers. It is one of the worst trades I have ever seen in the National Football League. So when we talk about Super Bowl contenders, I'm not surprised that Dallas sat out, that Kansas City sat out. Because if you're making big moves in free agency, you've got legitimate foundational issues on your club.
For sure.
You look at the Green Bay Packers. made significant moves because they have foundational issues on their club.
But like with the Chiefs as an example, for the Chiefs, I look at them and I say, yeah, they don't have foundational issues. Obviously, they've got a really good setup. Of course, Patrick Mahomes covers up a lot of those shortcomings in terms of talent. So like you have ways to continue to win ball games. But I think the conversation for a club like that is like, how long until you bring in a top end wide receiver, whether that's Justin Jefferson or otherwise, you know what I mean? Like, how long, because obviously they're playing the cap game, of course, everybody is, but the Chiefs are having to balance that. And I think that I don't know. I think if you're the Chiefs, you're riding out Patrick Mahomes' ability to run around as long as you can, because until he's unable to do that, you don't really need to have guys who can just get open automatically. You need to have a good offensive line and a half decent running game in your fine.
I agree with that. And again, I look at the Packers. The Packers made moves. I don't necessarily love swapping Josh Jacobs for Aaron Jones. You saved $1 million.
Right.
Aaron Jones is a system guy, knows your locker room, knows your quarterback, fits into what you want to do offensively. Often injured? Yes. Probably too expensive? Probably. You're going to cut him. I think he's going to end up in Dallas. I could be wrong. I think he is going to end up in your conference, and you're going to have saved $1 million on Josh Jacobs. I don't necessarily love that move. I don't love that. Or excuse me, you spent another $1 million to get Josh Jacobs. I got that backwards. That's a huge mistake. Huge. That's a mistake in my opinion.
Yeah.
It's a mistake. I think Josh Jacobs is coming off of a season that was horrendous, averaging 3.5 yards a carry.
Yeah.
So you cut one of your long times to pay him $1 million more, and he's coming off of not a great season in Las Vegas. Not sure that I love that move.
Yeah, and I think that a lot of people are going to say, oh, well, the Raiders, they weren't that good, and they're mediocre, and they're average. But I tend to agree. I mean, it's not like Josh Jacobs is some huge upgrade for you. And by the way, while we're talking about that division, the Bears didn't exactly have a great day either, right? Obviously, the Justin Fields trade market took a huge shot yesterday when Atlanta got Kirk Cousins. You look at the Lions are chilling, right? They're obviously in a good spot. They're one of those teams that obviously is not going to make some huge splash. And then the Vikings situation. Yeah, Justin Jefferson has 1 year left on this deal. And again, it's all about timing, right? You trade this guy before June 1st, you're in a good place financially. You save the money. If you don't, you're taking the hit. So I gotta believe that we see something on that front. You can't tell me that, and this is the age-old discussion, right? We seemingly every single year have the conversation around, hey, he's got 1 year left, man. He's one of the best players in the league. What are you going to do? Trade him if he says he's unwilling to sign the extension. Trade him. It's not that difficult. Just get on with it.
And then there's the Bears and Justin Fields.
Yeah.
And I don't know what you do with this. I think that the market is pretty well dried up for Justin Fields. I think Atlanta was the natural fit. I'm not necessarily saying that that door is slammed shut, as a lot of people around the NFL have noted. But now you're not going to make a trade for a quarterback. I mean, I think that you're in a position now, if you're the Chicago Bears, where you've waited so long and you have been indecisive. And now I think you don't have a whole lot of options, because I don't see the Seattle Seahawks giving up a booty to get Josh Fields. I don't see that happening. And I think it's a huge problem. I truly do. I think Seattle is the last best opportunity, and I don't truly see that as an opportunity.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think that, again, this goes back to the conversation we had when, once again, much like Philly, you decided to keep this mediocre ass head coach and not change all that out. And I don't understand why you would keep Matt Eberflus, then decide, hey, even though we have the number 1 overall pick, we're still going to keep Justin Fields. Haven't been aggressive on that front. And what really have you done? Honestly, like, what really have you done? We're just sitting here doing nothing.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, looking at the other options for Justin Fields, I don't think are the New York Giants really going to make that deal? Can you take a risk on him? You can't. Can the Denver Broncos, who are also mentioned, make a huge splash and take a risk on Justin Fields? I don't think you can. I think it's the Seattle Seahawks. I think everybody there is aware that Geno's not the long-term guy there. And I think that is probably the best fit schematically. But I don't see Denver as part of that. A lot of people are pointing at New England, who inexplicably traded Mac Jones to Jacksonville. That was a little awkward.
Yeah.
Like it's going to be interesting to see how all that plays out. And are you telling me the Bears would trade Justin Fields to Minnesota?
No way.
They're not doing that.
No, you got to trade him outside the division for sure.
I think you're stuck with him now. I think you are stuck with him, and it is going to be very difficult to move him.
Well, and I think the hard part when it comes to Justin Fields is you can't tell me there aren't people around the league who believe in this guy, right? Like, so you can't tell me other organizations don't look at this situation and say, yeah, this guy could absolutely be a starter for us. He could absolutely be effective for us. We just need to develop him a little bit. We need to give him some skills. We need to give him some structure because he doesn't have that in Chicago, and it's killing him. And obviously, there are plenty of people who don't believe in Justin Fields. The only problem is that for the Bears, I don't believe in, and I know we disagree on this a little bit, but I don't believe in the path of this organization right now. And I don't care if the front office has done a good job or an okay job or whatever the case may be. Like, you're just not, you're in this predicament because you created it, right? So, and it's what we said the day they brought back Matt Eberflus back. You can't keep Matt Eberflus, keep Justin Fields, and draft Caleb Williams and think that you're a great franchise. And that's the path they're on right now. And they may do a deal with Seattle, right? That may happen. And okay, cool. At that point, you're going to bring Caleb Williams in. But what really is going to change? That's my question.
And the other question I have is, why did we sign DeAndre Swift?
Yeah.
I like, that's a deal where you gave him $15 million guaranteed. Why the rush to pay DeAndre Swift? That for me, that's one that that's one of the more perplexing moves yesterday. We talked about it a little bit on the show. It's fine. If he stays healthy, it's fine. You gave him $15 million guaranteed. And what have we talked about with running backs? Mediocre teams don't pay big money to running backs.
Mm-hmm.
Like, if you are one of those teams that's trying to build, you don't give an oft-injured running back in DeAndre Swift. Granted, coming out of a good year, but you don't give an oft-injured running back $15 million guaranteed. Good teams don't do that. And it's why Zeke was such a problem. Now, that was a much larger contract. That was $15 a year. But you don't win paying running backs huge money.
Well, and look at what the Cowboys did with Zeke. I think it's a great comparison. You remember when they gave him that contract, what they did? They also went out and fortified the offensive line. They then handed it off to him. They then allowed him to rack up numbers. You're not doing that with Swift in that system, right? Justin Fields, assuming he's there, right? He that's a runaround quarterback for you, dude. You're not an under center handed off team.
Yeah, I don't know, man. I'm open to the conversation. Where are you guys at this morning? Let's get you in here in the comments section, as always, presented by our good friends at Prize Picks, prizepicks.com, the official daily fantasy partner of the Monty Show. Make sure you download the Prize Picks app. Use the promo code Monty to get 100% deposit matching. 2 or 3 last night. Thank you, Kevin Durant, for hitting on a goblin. You guys know that red goblins are higher payouts. Green goblins are lower payouts. That means they're easier to hit. The red goblins are harder to hit. Kevin Durant was a demon, was a demon at 2.5 3-pointers made yesterday. I thought that was a no-brainer.
Like
he hit
such
5.
An attainable number, right?
It is for KD. He hit 5 last night. Luka Doncic. Now, this is interesting because there's also a part of this where you have to get in at the right time. I had Luka Doncic at 47.5 points, rebounds, and assists.
Mm-hmm.
You had him at 53.
I believe that's correct.
I got him at 47.5.
Yeah. Luka last night, this is the kind of night I had. Yeah. 53, and I needed 54.
I got him at 47.5. He hit 53. So I win 2 out of 3. Cade Cunningham, 2 of 10 from 3. I needed him to hit 3 3-pointers. He went 2 of 10. So I win 2 of 3. I win $56 on a $25 bet. Thank you to the Demon.
Yeah.
I love Prize Picks. Prize Picks NBA, Prize Picks Major League Baseball.
Prize Picks Golf.
I think golf's much more difficult. I'm like 2 of 5 on my golf prize picking. But Major League Baseball, I think, is one of the best seasons for Prize Picks. Download the app. Yes, I am a degenerate loser who plays Prize Picks spring training baseball. Just bet the Dodgers to score runs in the first
is there
inning.
another guy that's what was Buddy's name who dunked on Victor?
Somebody's mom's
Trace
cousin.
Jackson Denali is coming up to the plate to hit a home run. Come on, dude.
I'm telling you, I am 3 for 3 on the Dodgers scoring a run in the first inning. 3 for 3.
Yeah.
It is pretty reliable.
Yeah, we both won on that last week.
Yeah, I love it. Prize Picks is a blast. Get in our membership, hit the join button, get into our members only group on Instagram for $10 a month. You join a big community, and we talked. Greg Hawkins won on spring training baseball yesterday. We'll be in Arizona this weekend for about 15 minutes.
Seriously.
Next year, I'm going for a week. Next year, I am going to Arizona for a week. I am so done with the cold, but here nor there. We'll be in Arizona this weekend, prize picking away at spring training. Hook it up, download the Prize Picks app, get in the members only group. All of us play together. We chat about it. We talk about it. Joseph Harper generally wins. I generally lose. It's all good. The Monty Show. Make sure you download the Prize Picks app. Use promo code Monty. Let's see. Who is talking NFL? Aaron Wilson's been a member of the show. Aaron Wilson decided he would join the show today. Aaron got a little salty in the members only chat yesterday. He's like, how do I watch the replay? I said, well, you just go to our YouTube channel. He said, yes, I know how to watch the replay. Well, then why'd you ask? Good to see you, Aaron, who's been a member for 11 months. He says 2 years as a listener. Appreciate you. Have a great day yourself there, sir. Let's see. Dakota Tubbs. Captain Kirk questionably captains the USS Enterprise. Is a Start Fleet captain qualified to quarterback the Falcons? I like Kirk Cousins a lot. I have had many a battle on this show.
Espoused.
About Kirk Cousins. Good old, the late, great Napa Mike and I used to battle over Kirk Cousins.
Yeah.
I'm a Kirk Cousins believer. Walgamot, how are you? Kirk Cousins around the NFL robbing people. Is Kirk Cousins a good quarterback?
He's not robbing people, dude. You're worth what you can get paid. This guy racks up, has no problem throwing for 4,000 or 5,000 yards a season. The problem is that Atlanta is not exactly the most talented squad you've ever seen. So I'm not sure that you're going to throw for 4,000 plus coming off of an Achilles on an average ass football team.
I think he had a really good run in Minnesota. I think his time in Washington was, once he started in 2015, he was very good. Last year, obviously, with the injuries, he still throws 18 touchdowns and 5 picks in 8 games. The guy had a really good year before he got hurt, right? I don't think people understand that he is a really good thrower. Now, is he good on Monday Night Football? He's not and has not been. But I look at Kirk Cousins and I say, surround that guy with elite offensive talent, give him an offensive line, and you're going to win a lot of games.
Yeah. And
if Kirk Cousins is your starting quarterback, you could be a lot worse off. The guy has a 2.5 to 1 interception ratio.
Mm-hmm.
270 touchdowns, 110 interceptions. I'm a believer.
Yeah.
I'm a buyer on Kirk Cousins. I am a buyer all day long.
And I think for Atlanta, that's a no-brainer. I mean, again, with all due respect to Falcon Nation, like you guys aren't exactly competing for a Super Bowl right now.
Yeah. Aaron Wilson also gives a Monty Show membership.
Okay.
As does Tom Dean. Tom, thank you very much. Appreciate that. Always good to see you guys. San Diego State Glenn says skull.
Okay. We need to have a quick sidebar. How is it that you live in San Diego, are a San Diego State fan, and now somehow you're a Viking fan?
Could be.
How does that work?
Aaron says, I have a doctor's appointment. Hope you are well, my friend. Connor Tulin, I don't think Saquon dead to me is extreme. You don't. So if you guys don't know this, Tiki Barber, the legendary New York Giant running back, does a show for FAN in New York. And yesterday when that news came out, he straight up said, Saquon Barkley's dead to me.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess my question here is, what did you want Saquon Barkley to do? What did you want Saquon Barkley to do? Now, as you see on the screen right here.
Yeah, it's here.
He tweeted it, Tiki Barber, you have been a hater since I got to New York. And all the, quote, dead to me talk, don't smile in my face when you see me. That's exactly right. That's exactly right. And I think it's really interesting that the New York Giants did not tender Saquon Barkley an offer, and they did not tag him. What was Saquon Barkley supposed to do?
Yeah.
Turn down $26 million guaranteed from your division rival?
A Super Bowl caliber team, I might add.
Is Saquon just supposed to say, nah, Tiki's going to be pissed. I better take far less money in New York.
Whatever.
He's not supposed to turn that money down.
No.
Saquon Barkley did nothing wrong. And it's the Kevin Durant's a ring chaser, bro. Yeah, he is. Who isn't? And it's these guys, and I worry about this for my guy, Devin Booker. It's these guys who are like, I want to be one team for life, bro. If you're Steph Curry, that works because you got a pile of rings. If that's Tom Brady, that works because you had a pile of rings. If that's Saquon Barkley, it doesn't work. You need to win.
Yes.
You need to win. And for me, I just think that this is much ado about nothing.
Yeah, and I think that, Giant fan is going to be bitter because, again, Saquon was one of your best players, and, now he's not. And I understand there's injured concerns, and, he spent a lot of time on the list. Totally get it. But at the same time, the question you can't get away from is, what would you have him do? If the Giants are not going to offer him something, did you really think he was going to go and play on the West Coast? This is a guy that went to Penn State. Like, you don't think that he sees an opportunity to play for the Eagles and isn't excited?
And I would also point out he grew up outside of Philadelphia.
Yeah.
Like, this is not even controversial.
So with all due respect to Tiki Barber, I'm on Saquon's side here. With all due respect.
Get paid.
I'm not going to guilt this guy at all.
Yep. OG Gary says Jefferson is an unrestricted free agent in 25. This is his final year, so if the Vikings want something for him, now is the time to make that happen.
100%.
It won't be the Saints. It won't be. If you look at Justin Jefferson, that's a guy that will bring you a first-round pick. And if you're Justin Jefferson, you can kind of write your own ship. Why would you choose New Orleans? Yeah, I'm not doing that. He's going to the Bears. Let's face it. The Panthers sunk a ton of money in that O-line yesterday. How do you give up Burns and McCaffrey and not get a first-round pick? I think it's one of the worst trades I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I don't get it. Mike Smith, Panthers might have gotten 2 first-rounders last year. It's wild.
Yet here we are.
Wild. Connor Tulin says, go Giants. Let's see. Glenn says, Carolina gave up David Putney too. Fleeced. Scott of Greywater Watch, the Texans sat out mostly, but why would you go and spend a bunch of money if you're the Texans?
Yeah, I mean, why did they lose to the Ravens this past playoff season? Because the Ravens were just slightly better than you, and I think CJ Stroud just wasn't quite ready yet.
Experience.
So if you're the Texans, why would you go looking to to, make some huge, foundation changing move. Now, if you said to me, hey, the Texans took a run at Justin Jefferson as an example, obviously they can't right now, but you get what I'm saying.
Yeah.
Then I'd be like, okay, I get it, right? You've got a young quarterback, never a bad thing to add a star wide receiver. Okay, I understand that one. But outside of that, I just don't think you should change all that much. I think you're in a great place.
Yeah, I wouldn't. And I look at some of the tackles that are available. That's where I'd be going. If you need to upgrade, and they're pretty solid on the offensive line, but there's a lot of offensive line's going to start going today. I think you saw a lot of interior offensive linemen. Robert Hunt went to the Panthers. I think you're going to see a lot of tackles start moving today. I think you're going to continue to see edge rushers come off the board. Josh Allen with that franchise tag was really smart. I cannot believe that the Giants got Brian Burns like that. I just can't believe that. That's the worst trade. That might be the worst trade in the modern era of the NFL.
What are we hearing about?
That's crazy.
We're not hearing about that trade, are we? We're hearing about what you lost because that's how it works in New York. And until that changes, you're not going to win anything. And I keep saying this, man. You extended, and this may have been your first mistake. You thought it'd be a good idea to get Daniel Jones locked up long term. And I'm going to sit here and tell you, if you're going to rip a guy like Kirk Cousins and say that he's stealing money, who's a bigger thief, Kirk Cousins in Atlanta or Daniel Jones in New York? Because last time I checked, that guy hasn't done anything.
And I'd also point out on the Texans, Azeez Al-Shire is not exactly a pushover, and Jeff Okudah is a nice project. I mean, he's still got top end. I think the Texans are fine. I truly think the Texans are right where they should be. OG Gary, send Fields to the Saints. We need a QB. Fields for the 3rd round pick. What are we doing? And the Bears with this Lakefront Stadium thing, finally, did you guys see this story? That the Bears are committed to staying on the lakefront in Chicago and that they will build a new dome stadium south of the current Soldier Field. It's the right move, but we're so broken. The Bears are, it's heartbreaking.
Quick question though.
Yes.
Okay, I know why. You're going to build a dome stadium because you need a multi-purpose facility if you're going to be building a new building in that particular part of town. You do. But does that mean that we're going to lose the snow game in Chicago that we get once a year?
Yes, it does.
That to me is terrible. I hate that.
Diana Rossini reporting that chicken and a biscuit. Diana Rossini is reporting that Aaron Jones is going to the Vikings. You're going from Green Bay to the Vikings. That was personal. You're going to the Vikings. Why?
Because he's bitter. I don't know.
That's all you can explain. That because he could have. Yeah, man.
You're telling me you're taking the Vikings over the Cowboys? Come on.
Yeah, that's wild. Mike Smith, Bears are going to Bears. Yes, we will. Probably the best QB they have had a chance to get, and they will ruin him because of their front office. No doubt about it. No doubt about it. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. Aaron Jones to the Vikings.
Yeah, it doesn't make a whole lot of sense. It just outside of, hey, I want to spite the Packers. Okay, cool, man. Cool. You want to go and play for a team that's not going to make the playoffs? Cool. You do you, man.
I'm really surprised by that.
And I guess, who's the presumptive starter? Jaron Hall, I guess, for them?
Well, Sam Darnold, I would think.
Or Sam Darnold, yeah.
I would think, right? Yeah. I mean, those are upgrades. Those are upgrades, but I'm a little surprised that he went there. Aaron Jones says members only group is phenomenal. I agree. Read that one already. Brandon Butler, I don't have a problem with the Swift signing. I think the Bears are screwed on Fields. But why DeAndre Swift on day one of free agency?
Why not offensive line? If you're going to do something on day one, why not offensive line?
Why not trade Justin Fields?
Yeah.
The thing about DeAndre Swift is this is a guy who's always injured, coming off of a career year. You overpaid for him. You overpaid him. And you're in a position where what's the one thing you can't afford to do? Waste your money. You have cap space and you paid him $15 million guaranteed. That money's gone. Light it on fire because he's going to get hurt. The offensive line has not been improved, in my opinion. You're probably not going to improve that offensive line through the draft because the Bears do not have a history of drafting well.
Mm-hmm.
What are you doing? What are you doing?
Being the Bears.
I just continue to ask, what are you doing?
Well, and it's that old adage we always talk about, like the bad organizations in the NFL are bad for a reason.
Why did you let David Montgomery go? Why did you? I mean, you've had. It's a bad signing. I don't know any way to spin it.
Yeah.
That DeAndre Swift, while not a bad back, DeAndre Swift is a complimentary running back.
Yes.
You don't pay him number one money.
He is not a number one back, and everybody agrees on that. Yet here we are.
Yeah, I don't know. Let's see who else is in this morning. Sean Mierzinski, Aaron Jones to Minnesota. I just said that. Thank you. Giggity, Kurt may be robbing people, but Kirk isn't. Exactly right. Kirk Cousins.
Right.
I didn't want to be a jerk about it. Just think back. Kirk Cousins, the other QB that Washington drafted, yet turned out to be the best. Well,
yeah.
And there's a lot of misses on that. Kirk Cousins ain't worried about winning at this point. He is what he is. He just wants one more payday. But I think if you're Kirk Cousins, I mean, you had other suitors. Atlanta's a little surprising. Bryce, I tend to agree that he probably took the biggest check he could get. That's the only justification to go to Atlanta.
And I don't have a problem with that. If that was what you wanted, there's no problem with that.
Yeah. 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 Sean Mierzinski said, I think the issue is A, what are they paying him? And B, the length of the contract he ends up when he's 40. Well, that the age is always a thing. Tanner Plummer, sup guys, pretty active first day of free agency.
Yeah, are you so where are we at, Eagle fan? Tanner, is Jalen Hurts still garbage and the team sucks, or are we now Super Bowl favorites? What are we looking at?
Yeah, giggity. Cousins will win a lot of games until he's in prime time. Exactly right. OG Gary, he's Kirk Cousins, not Jay Cutler.
That's right.
And again, no. Yeah, I'm not falling down the Jay Cutler rabbit hole. The old smoking Jay Cutler memes were fun. I agree. Jake, it was a flow of comment section remark. Aaron Jones to the Vikings speculation. Truth. West Virginia, fly, Eagles fly. West Virginia Walrus says.
Okay.
Good day to be an Eagles fan until you remember Nick Sirianni didn't get fired. Mike, he openly robbed the Bears. Jay Cutler didn't rob the Bears. Jay Cutler was
probably the best quarterback they've ever had.
Yeah.
Honestly.
What do you mean he robbed the Bears? I disagree with that at all. Let's see. Boyd Lake, good morning. New York to Philly is like Hatfields to the McCoys. Only the Hatfields didn't offer to pay Saquon anything, so we went to the McCoys. You can't complain where the guy went if you didn't tag him and if you didn't offer him a contract.
Yep.
It's awfully difficult to complain about a guy making a move when you didn't offer him anything. Like calling him a traitor and you're dead to me when you didn't offer him a job? What was he supposed to work for free? Come on, man. Yeah. Tanner says the Tiki dead to me talk is embarrassing and uncalled for. He needs to grow up. This is just a game at the end of the day. Yeah, but it's Giants and Eagles. Plus, who knows? Maybe the Giants figured it out this year. No, they didn't. No, they won't.
No.
They're not. UW fan Jim, Saquon has too much money to care what Tiki thinks. And Tiki's a never was.
Yeah.
A never was. Eric and Rowley, Trevor Bauer to the Big 32 and the number one seed in March Madness. Yeah, we'll talk about Trevor Bauer coming up in a bit because I think that's very interesting. Thank you, Sean Rollins, who donates a Monty Show membership. As always, appreciate you guys donating the memberships. I think that a lot of teams that spend big money on day one of free agency are not going to win. They're not. I think I look at some of the deals that were made, and obviously, if you're just tuning in, we're probably being a little redundant. But I look at the DeAndre Swift deal. That's a deal a losing football team does. I look at the Josh Jacobs deal. That's a losing deal. I don't know what Aaron Jones is getting from the Vikings, but that feels like probably a good deal. That feels like a good deal to me, right? I look at, Mitch Morse going to the Jaguars is a good deal. You're investing in your offensive line, and you've invested in a young quarterback. That's a good deal. The Steelers bringing in Russell Wilson feels like a can't-miss deal at $1.2 million.
Yeah.
Right? Those are smart, pragmatic deals. But some of these other ones, the Giants not even making an attempt at Saquon Barkley feels like a deal a losing team makes. Gardner Minshew going to the Raiders, that feels like a good deal to me. Like Frankie Louvu to the Commanders feels like a good deal to me. I like that a lot. I look at, again, the Panthers trading Brian Burns for not a first-round pick in the conference to the Giants feels like a move a team that loses a lot makes. It's a good deal for the Giants, right? Austin Eckler to the Redskins. Nothing.
Are you serious right now?
To the Commanders.
Bro.
There's a lot of rumors around the NFL they're going to change that name again.
The Washington Football Club, please.
Eckler gets 2 years and $11 million. That's a good move.
Yeah. I mean, look,
it's a very low-risk move.
A lot of these moves are like, hey, yeah, we just needed this guy or that guy. So we went out and signed him. But that doesn't mean that we're going to be any, this Bears and Swift thing. That doesn't mean they're going to be any better.
Carlton Davis to the Lions is a great move. That's a team that gave up way too many big plays, right? They get Davis and 2 picks, and they only give up a third rounder. Smart move by Detroit.
Mm-hmm.
That's a winning culture. Jacoby Brissett to the Patriots. You're in a transition now. That's a really good move for $8 million 1 year.
Mm-hmm.
That's a really smart move by the Patriots. Lloyd Cushenberry going to Tennessee is a really good move. I like that move. 4 years, $50 million, only half of it guaranteed. I like that move a lot.
Yeah, and I think the only other name that I'm really curious about is Derrick Henry. He is somebody that can make a big difference for you, but he's somebody that doesn't fit in with everybody because of his style of play
and how much money he's going to demand.
You telling me that if Derrick Henry somehow found his way to the Steelers, that wouldn't be a great fit, knowing how they like to play football? You tell me that he's not an AFC North, AFC East kind of guy? Come on now. We know what kind of football they like to play over there.
Yeah, look, I think day one of free agency is for losing teams. I know we've talked about that a lot on this show over the years when NFL free agency opens up. It doesn't feel like they're of the big Kirk Cousins, let's say, because that's probably the biggest money move.
Right.
That doesn't feel like a move that you made to win Super Bowls on either side of that move. That doesn't feel like a winning move. Is it an upgrade? Sure. He's probably the apparent replacement for Matt Ryan, because I think you've been an abject failure at replacing Matt Ryan. The Mariotas of the world, like that. You didn't draft well. It just feels like this is the bridge to your next quarterback. And that's probably 3 years away. So it's probably a really pragmatic move. But day one of free agency, big money spending.
Yeah.
I don't know. Again, Darnold to the Vikings. Is Jaren Hall a legitimate starting quarterback in the NFL?
I don't think we can use the word legitimate. I do think he's borderline. I think that for the Vikings with where they are, and let's just assume that they were to trade Justin Jefferson, and that's how that worked out.
Ooh.
Now you've gone from a playoff contender to someone who's not going to be in the playoff picture, and you're figuring out your way. In that situation, yeah, I think Jaren Hall can start for you. Frankly, I think Jaren Hall should start for you because...
But you brought in Darnold.
I get it. I understand it. But I don't know. Sam Darnold is solid. He's not anything special.
Sure, certainly. But Jaren's next opportunity has got to be his best opportunity. Because can't have another concussion, can't get injured again, can't look scared. Because I thought last year when he went in there, and they as much said so, he looked scared. And you got to take advantage of it. All right. speaking of BYU, there he is. Ryan, fresh off of a now, is Disneyland relaxing? It can't possibly be relaxing.
No, so definitely Disneyland is not a relaxing vacation. I averaged 31,000 steps a day when we were just there last week.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yeah. I
17 miles, 18 miles, and 16 miles in one day.
Are you a Hoka guy? Or you wear Adidas? Or what do you wear to walk that many steps?
So on that, I wear those On shoes.
Okay.
They're
okay.
really comfortable. I wear them at work too when it's not cold or snowy. I don't wear my boots, my Nike Duck boots.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're actually really comfy.
Okay.
At first, I thought they were like just overpriced and not worth it, but I took the plunge and I'm plunging more often now. They're great.
I like it. Is Disneyland overpriced? Because now we, as former Southern California guys,
Yes.
former season pass holders, I was there last fall when we were back home for the holidays, and everything felt so expensive just to get in.
Oh, but
Feels really expensive.
isn't that everything in this country right nowadays?
It is. It is.
But no, yes, it is expensive. I think if you go a lot and you don't have the passes, it's just not cost effective at all. But I mean, it's so expensive, even the food. But I mean, it's part of the experience, right? It's like when you eat inside the Jazz Stadium, it's way more expensive than it is outside. So it's supply and demand. They know they have you and they can charge what they want, unfortunately.
Yeah.
Unlike Big O Tires and American Fork that always gives you the best price.
That's right.
See, look at that transition right
That's
there.
right. That's a
That's how it's
professional
done.
transition right there. And I have to say, I maybe rent free because it's a $60,000 car, but I just bought a BMW of Murray, and I thought that I could go in there. What's that?
Who'd you work with over there?
Kimber Wakely is who I worked with over there.
Yeah, Crew's wife.
Guess who she talked to me about?
Who?
Ryan at Big O Tires and American Fork. Because I said to her, hey, she's like, okay, you got this beautiful X2M. We got to get some window tint. We got to get some. And I said, but I said to her, I got a guy who does my tint, because Ryan at Big O Tires and American Fork tinted my Grand Cherokee for me, and great job. And she's like, who's your guy? And I said, oh, well, I happen to know, this guy, Ryan, who owns Big O Tires. And she finished the sentence, in American Fork. Oh, Ryan's great. I know Ryan. I'll give you a better discount. So it turns into a competition. You are everywhere, man. Who don't you know?
I don't know. A lot of people.
You do. But what did she say about you? Great service. Oh, I don't blame you if you go, because I said to her, hey, I with all due respect, I got to go see my guy, right? Because she said, oh yeah, he's always great. He does great work. He takes care of BYU. Her husband, obviously the starting safety at BYU, he takes care of, she said, all of the guys. And I would remind you that Jake Retzloff sent us his t-shirt. He's on the show every Thursday, thanks to Ryan at Big O Tires. Like, I'm telling you, man, you're well thought of. That's got to feel good.
Yeah, I love the knowing that we have a good representation here in the community. We're able to help a lot of these players. And one last thing they don't have to worry about, right? With NIL and with them playing at the level of the caliber they are, we don't want them having to worry about their car breaking down and am I getting ripped off? Is it really leaking oil? They can come here and they know that I'm going to take care of them and not have to worry about something like that. They can just focus on the field and class and move forward.
And you don't have to be a BYU football player to get that level of service. And I think that's what we learned, because we originally came into your shop, not because we were doing business with you, because, the guys at Coot Connect and Jake Brandon and all those guys raved about you. And I think that's what our experience with you has been. And I think the difference is when you go to and in this case, a dealer, you're going to pay a lot more. And that doesn't mean because you're paying more money, you're getting better service, right? A small shop like you, a guy that's grinded, you built your business, you built a reputation. I believe that a guy like you gives a better price, but I also expect better service at your level.
100%. 100%.
Yeah. And I think you're more in control of it. Anyway, so I say this: how's the construction at the shop going? How we looking?
We are 95% done. Only thing we're waiting for is our wrap and I am having a big O tire sign put up here on this brick wall, but everything else is done and it feels good. So yeah, no more dust, no more sorry, we're remodeling signs, no more, oh, can I use the bathroom? Yeah, we're great. It's good. But unfortunately for you, Monty, you can't smell the tires anymore.
I still, and a lot of people have asked me about that. I am not kidding. I like the smell of tires. So now you've built this huge storeroom. So you guys have more tires in stock now.
Yeah, well, so I guess you can go back into the room and smell it more profoundly in there because it's pretty profound in there.
Well, I will definitely have to. I'll bring the new beam down because I got to show it. You're my tire guy, and you know what, man? I am not, and I don't know. Maybe this is uncouth. I don't know if I'm the only one that's brand loyal. But having the Cross Climate 2, the Michelin Cross Climate 2 on my Jeep, I'm not a Pirelli P0 guy. Why does BMW put Pirelli P0s on an X2?
Well, just be glad it doesn't have the Cup Pilot Sport 2s on there. You'd be sliding all over in this rain right now.
Truth.
One of my employees, he just bought the 2024 M2, and he literally can't drive it to work when it's raining.
Yeah.
It's that bad. I mean, the car's sick. Don't get me wrong. But
it is.
Snow. What size tires on it?
20s.
21s? Oh, 20s. Okay.
20s. And listen, I think I will probably the P0's fine. It'll be fine in the summer, but by the time we get to fall, probably by the time football kicks off, I will have bought another set of Cross Climate 2s from you. I'll never buy that tire. That tire is expensive. It is not a cheap tire, as you're well aware, Ryan, but I think performance in that tire, coming home in that snowstorm from St. George a couple of weeks ago, dude, I never felt more secure than I have on that Michelin. I'm a Michelin guy.
It is a really ugly tire, though. Would you not agree?
No, I love the way it looks. It
looks so weird.
The lattice cross thing.
It's so weird.
How about this? It's
you
unique.
Don't like
it's unique.
It's unique. Yes, I like that, Jake. Yeah, very.
You don't like the way that tire looks.
Way to be PR correct. That was good, Jake.
Yeah.
Okay.
Unique. I like it.
Yeah.
That's fine.
But no, they are the best tire. I think they're better than a snow tire in some situations.
Yeah,
that's how good of a tire they are.
We were, and I think we talked about this once before, but we were coming back from St. George. You couldn't see 2 feet in front of your face. It was blowing snow, a blizzard, and though it just performed. Now it's a Summit, it's a Grand Cherokee Summit all-wheel drive. I get that, but those tires were fantastic. Nobody cares. Real quick, how are you feeling about BYU basketball?
I wish we were a 6 seed, but hey, I'm a 5 seed will work. I just don't want to play Houston. They're the best team in the country. I don't want to play them. But the other side of the bracket, I would have felt much happier about. Everyone on that side we have beaten, I feel like.
Yeah.
And Kansas we beat at their place, and so playing them neutral, I feel is we're already in their head. But hey, you got to play the cards that are dealt, and let's go to work.
Totally agree. Ryan, always good to see you. Thanks for presenting Jake Retzloff every Thursday morning right here on the show, making that possible. Good to see you. Enjoy your recovery from your trip to Disneyland, and we'll talk to you next week.
All right, guys. Have a good week.
There you go. That's our guy, Ryan at Big O Tires and American Fork, and you guys support him. It is, and we talk about this all the time. He's a small business owner. He just gets it. You go into that store.
Yeah.
And I'm not making this up. We're sitting there buying the Beamer this weekend.
Yeah.
And Kimber Wakely comes up and she's like, okay, hey, like paint protection. Because here in Utah, for those of you who don't know, you cannot get your insurance to cover a broken windshield. So if you get a rock chip or a crack, you've got to pay out of pocket to get that windshield replaced. So I buy film that goes on top of it's a coating that goes on top of your windshield. And rock chips here are a huge thing. So I buy paint protection and window coating. And I always get my windows tinted. 35 on the back, 15 on the front, money. Ryan's usually the guy that does that for me. And she's like, oh, no. She knew Ryan at Big O Tires and
Yes.
American Fork.
Yes.
Wild.
Yes.
Absolutely wild. All right. Good morning. Hour number 2 of the Monty Show. Who's in the comments section right now? John DeLon says Mooks. Jake has been using that word more and more.
It has its certain applications.
It does. Big Blue Horses. I would take Football Club over Commanders. I would agree with that.
Commanders is just a garbage.
It's
name,
a terrible
It's
name.
awful.
It's a terrible name. OG Gary, I miss Pirelli tires. I have Bridgestones on right now, dude. So when we had our Fiats, our Abarths, they come standard with P0s, Pirelli P0s. Now, I also am an on-ramp, off-ramp guy. If you know, you know. And we had our Abarths completely strapped. So they had chassis bars on them. They had everything suspension-wise.
Yeah.
And we used to corner those cars because they're on rails. The Beamer's on rails.
Yeah.
And the problem is, all of the P0s, the wall breaks down, the sidewall of the tire
is soft.
It gives out.
It is not on par with Michelin's. And I'll tell you this right now. I as soon as we're out of winter in Utah, and we're pretty much out of it now. We're pretty much in the end of winter, early spring cycle right now.
Yeah.
Dude, Pilot Sport's coming back, dude, because that is the absolute. And I've had Continentals, not a big fan. Had Pirellis, not a big fan. Put Michelin's on it, you're good to go. Worth the money.
Cross Climate 2s.
Yeah.
They are an interesting looking tire.
I don't think they're ugly. I do think they're unique, and I think that look is why they perform, because they're able to move the snow.
Yeah, snow and they're great in the rain too. Chrissy, smell of burning tires are the worst thing ever. It lingers for a long time in the air. Never, I don't know that I can.
Yeah,
I'm not sure that I have.
We were just simply talking about the fact that when you walk in, like when you go by Costco as an example.
Yeah,
you're leaving Costco, and they always have the tire center in the Costco right there.
Yeah.
You walk by and you're like, oh, yeah, there's a smell of tires.
Monty can pay a small freak tax to go in back room and smell the tires. It's weird, but I love it. It used to be when you walked into Ryan's Big O Tires and American Fork, you could smell tires, and I loved it. Now he built this huge storeroom, so he's got a ton of stock for you. You never have to wait. Sean Rollins, trip from Ohio to Florida in February are the best. Is Disneyland worth it for a family vacation? I think if you have 10-year-olds, it's absolutely worth it. If you have youngsters, and they'll never forget it.
It's so expensive.
But you walk 31,000 steps a day.
They're going to sleep good.
And you do sleep good. But it's thousands of dollars just before you even hit the gate.
Yeah.
I think I don't know why, but I think it was $12 for an ice cream cone. When we went to,
feels like a lot.
Remember that we went to Disneyland?
That shop. Yeah.
$12 for an ice cream cone.
Yeah. Nah, I'm good.
It's crazy. Mike Smith. I love Cedar Point and Sandusky. I almost moved to Sandusky for the best roller coaster rides. Almost moved there. I love all my on shoes. 100% recommend. Never had one. I'm a Hoka guy. I'll try ons. Mrs. Monty is the one that needs the shoe. I'm a want. Giggity, it can't be overpriced with the crowds they have every day. Well,
seriously,
those places are packed. You know. Let's see. Who else is in this morning? There he is. Lil Jizzy. Monty should take Justin Herbert back into the tire room. There's a rubber joke to be made there. Stepanik, good morning. Love the tire smell. I agree. OG Gary or OG Salty says, hey, Monty. John DeLon, don't give money to Disney. Why?
Here comes the conspiracy theory, dark web comments.
Oh, DeSantis. Stop.
DeSanctimonious.
Can we just talk about Disney without, DeSanctimonious? Can we just?
Hey, did you guys see what Boeing did? They Epstein somebody. Did you see that?
Yeah, how about that story?
Yeah, Buddy's a whistleblower. I worked on the line and production this, production that.
The whistleblower on the Max. His time came. It happens.
Self-inflicted gunshot wound. Yeah, that's known as Jason Bourne.
Can't people just murk themselves without you being like, oh man, Boeing unalive, that poor son of a bitch.
He roasted them, and all of a sudden he rolls up dead? Come on.
Tell you what.
Oh, yeah. Buddy learned how to use a weapon, and he's no longer with us.
You know,
Nothing to see here.
unregistered firearm, not his fingerprint on the bullet, but
It's fine.
Everybody loves it. It's like this. Not to totally no. We have to talk about the Jazz because god damn, they're terrible. 1 month left in the NBA regular season. Where you at? I think there's some great storylines in the West. I think there's a lot of intrigue around just how good the top of the West is. Is Denver truly still one of the elites in the NBA? A lot of miles on the tires. Speaking of Big O Tires and American Fork, a lot of miles on the tires, right? Kevin Durant looks like he found the fountain of youth. Devin Booker comes back and drops double-digit dimes. They look legit. It looks like Brad Beal has finally found his way in the Valley. They look legit. The Lakers, Anthony Davis with a historically great performance the other night. LeBron looks recovered. Austin, oh my God, his name went right out of my head. Austin Reeves looks completely rejuvenated.
Mm-hmm.
That looks like a different team. And you look at how much size is at the top of the Western Conference. And again, like we talked about the other day, I don't know that Oklahoma City has the bodies to contend size-wise. Because in this league, if you are not going to rebound and run, you're probably not going to win a championship.
Right.
So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. Who's the best team in the West, Jake?
I think it has to default to Denver. I think OKC's probably got something to say about that, but I think, I look at the Suns playing good basketball, just simply put, playing really good basketball. This dynamic, even last night, this dynamic of, hey, Book's going to bring it up from time to time, and then he's only bringing it up with the intent to find Kevin Durant on the wing. And then Kevin Durant's going to drop. What was it? You had him on 2.5 threes last night? Didn't he have like 6 or whatever it was? 7. So you're not going to beat the Suns when Kevin Durant's dropping 7 threes on you for, that's right, 20 points just on threes alone. Come on, dude. So who's the best in the West? I think you have to give the nod to Denver just because of what they've done and the fact that they've got, Jokic. But I think that the Suns are going to be tough. I think the Suns understand how to play playoff basketball. And I think that, and I feel like I keep saying this about him, but Book is going to have a good postseason here. You're going to have to show up if you want to beat Denver, both defensively and offensively. So right now, yeah, I would give it to Denver. But, I think teams like OKC, there's a lot of teams in the West. The Lakers, I don't know what to make of them. They are so streaky. Am I getting 44-point D-Lo, or am I getting, 15-point D-Lo with 5 turnovers?
It's a big question.
Who am I getting?
It's a big question.
I think that's what makes it really difficult with the Lakers. They're somebody that constantly is in flux. You talk about Austin Reeves. This is somebody that can give you 20 on any given night, but on other nights disappears because he's stuck playing defense and can't get the ball. That's the problem. So
Lakers in Sacramento tomorrow night.
Yeah, another great game. Sacramento's another team. Hey, Sacramento's good enough to beat you. Whether you like that or not, they are good enough to beat you. Their problem is that they have to get out and run to do that.
Yeah, I don't know. I think the West is really interesting right now. I think the other team that I don't know that anybody really has a pulse on is New Orleans. They don't feel postseason good, but they can beat you. I mean, Zion seems motivated, right? And I look at the makeup of that roster. I look at the Minnesota Timberwolves. This Karl Anthony Towns injury is debilitating. And I think that we've talked openly and honestly and enjoyably about how mentally weak Rudy Gobert is.
Rudy Gobert.
I think this $100,000 fine that Rudy Gobert got from the NBA for making cash symbols at the officials the other night Like this is what happens to good teams that aren't great.
Yeah.
And I think that Anthony Edwards is one of those stars that's going to wind up playing in a different sweater next year. He's one of those guys that all of a sudden in the middle of July, a Woj bomb comes out that he demands a trade because you just don't want to be around that.
Yeah.
And I don't know how you fix their salary issues now because Rudy Gobert is untradeable at this point. And I think that they had a window to trade Karl Anthony Towns, but have you seen enough to try and keep that roster together? I think that's a huge question.
I mean, I think I've seen enough with Edwards and Cat. I think the problem is that Rudy kind of clogs things up, if you will. And I understand that's his game. I get it. But that doesn't mean that that's got to be Minnesota's game. And I think that if you were to turn Rudy into another wing defender of some kind, of some caliber, some type of guy who can give you 10, maybe 15 points and play some defense, that's going to be a lot better for you than having Rudy Gobert in the middle. And the defenders are going to say, oh man, but what about the rim protection? What about, what about the blocks? And I'm here to say, hey, have you seen the NBA lately? It's not about defense. It's about how many points you can score.
Well, and that's the question with Oklahoma City. I mean, that's a good team that's not great because they lack that big. And I just think that's not who Chet, it's the Victor Wembanyama thing. It's not who Victor is, right? Like Victor is not that guy. Chet is a big that plays the wing, right? He's truly a 3 when you really want him to be a 4, right? But he's not, he's a 3. And I think when you stylistically play the way that OKC plays, it does not lend you to winning in the postseason. It is the same thing I would say about the Sacramento Kings, even though they have some size and physicality, but I don't think they're built to win in the postseason. Denver is built to win in the postseason because they have inside out guys. And I think whether it's Jokic, and Jokic isn't a rim player. I think we all know that he for his size, he's historically lacking in dunks. The guy almost never dunks the ball.
Yeah.
But you have Aaron Gordon for that, right? You have the right dynamic there as they've proven. Phoenix has the right dynamic there as they've proven. Now, can they do it with this iteration? We're going to find out. But I think there's only 3-4 teams built to come out of the West. And I know, fool me once, I'm telling you the Lakers are one of those teams. I think the Lakers with if Anthony Davis stays healthy.
Well, and he plays that kind of basketball. Like, the Anthony Davis we got against the Bucks was incredible. A choice to just absolutely maul Giannis on defense. And so now it's like, hey, okay, if it's going to be that type of Anthony Davis, that's great. But how long can he play at that level without getting hurt? Because that's seemingly what happens to him every year. He steps up, he plays really hard, he does a great job, but then he picks up an ankle, he picks up a this or that. And
who are they defensively?
Yeah.
Because they are locked down defensively when their best 5 are on the floor, they're locked down defensively. It's just so rare for that anymore. And I'm telling you, you're going to have to give up 110 points or less to win.
Mm-hmm.
And I just don't see very many teams at the top of the West that are going to do that. I think the only legit team in that case is going to be Denver. I think Minnesota in the regular season, but I don't view Minnesota as 115 points a game in the postseason.
I think the other thing when you talk about defense is how many threes are you taking a game? Because Denver's not taking like 40 threes a game, dude. Right? Like they're taking enough, but they're not giving you the easy transition bucket. And to that end, I say, hey, look at the Lakers, look at Minnesota, look at, again, Sacramento, certainly the Warriors. That's why they give up so many points, because you're shooting a shot that is rebounded at the free throw line and is one passed into your paint. That's why you're giving up points.
But look at Phoenix. Phoenix is one of the better defensive teams in the West. Nobody talks about that. But it's because they rebound as a group.
And they got a bunch of mid-range assassins.
I think, we'll see. It's going to be really interesting. The Boston Celtics are in Salt Lake City tonight to take on your Utah Jazz. Have the Jazz wasted this season? because we saw a performance the other night out of Keontae George that just makes you understand who he is.
Mm-hmm.
And I look at this Jazz team and I just don't understand the direction of this club anymore. And I want to. I do. But if you're telling me you're building and you're developing,
Mm-hmm.
it just doesn't feel like that's what you're doing. You're not investing in your own talent. And there's just these confusing messages now where you had the Olynyks and you had this veteran roster. And I think John Collins has been a very good pickup for them. John Collins has been a very good pickup. But do you really feel like this team is all in on the guys that they've drafted and the young guys who are on this roster? It doesn't feel like that to me. And
no, it feels like they're on autopilot, honestly. It feels like they're just kind of playing games. They're just sort of, hey, like, cool, Keontae is,
yeah,
showing us what he can do. But I don't believe, and I'll be honest, like, just having watched a lot of their games, the Keontae George situation doesn't feel like one where it's like, man, they have really developed him. It almost just kind of feels like it's more of a, hey, he's played some ball games now, and the game is just kind of slowed down for him a little bit, so he knows what to do before the ball gets to him versus like, hey, I got the ball. What should I do? You know what I mean? Like, it's just a young guy getting more equipped to play the game. So I don't know. I don't know. I agree. They don't have direction now. The direction is we're going to play, the Sensabaugh of the world and the Taylor Hendricks of the world more minutes, and let's just see what they have. When I'm more of a believer, and certainly I know Danny Ainge is more of a believer based on what he's done in the past, that, hey, we need to draft well. We need to have a direction in terms of development. Because if you don't have a direction in terms of development, you're not going to start going down the playoff path, which inevitably leads you to contending for a championship.
And I like the Lofton Baisley pickups. I do. I'm a fan.
Mm-hmm. Lofton can play a little bit.
Yeah, I think Baisley can play a little bit.
Yeah.
The biggest thing for me is how committed is Ryan Smith, the owner of the Jazz, to giving Danny Ainge the tools and the cash that he needs to build a contender. Because I think that's the biggest question that I have. Because I feel like Walker Kessler has kind of become an afterthought here now. I feel like he is a guy that I think they've largely, stagnated his growth. It doesn't feel like they did what they needed to do to make sure that he was something of a centerpiece for them. And I think that's a mistake. I think the guy is a really good rim runner. I understand you want your bigs to shoot and be versatile, and he's not that guy. I think that could happen. I think he's got the skill set, but it just feels like you got away from what the plan was.
Yes.
Yes. That's what it feels like. It is
at one point, it was very much, hey, okay, we've got a nice little veteran mix here of young guys and vets. We brought in Laurie in that deal, and now we're looking to develop Keontae, and at some point, Taylor Hendricks will get his chance, you would think. And it turns out the only way he was ever going to get his chance is if you made trades that chop down this team. And so now we're sitting here watching a team that gets chopped down and talent-wise and is just not competitive. And that's what's frustrating, because I do agree. Walker Kessler on, let's say Walker Kessler played on a championship caliber team, the Boston Celtics as an example, because they're here tonight. Imagine Walker Kessler on that team coming off the bench behind Porzingis and giving him 20 minutes a night, let's say, as a bench player. You really telling me he's not going to have a double-double in 20 minutes on that team? So we're not even able to see the top end of a lot of these guys because they're playing with such poor talent.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't love it. We'll see what they do tonight, but I just thought it was an interesting. When we were sitting here talking NBA in the pre-show meeting, I was like, this just feels like a wasted season for the Jazz.
Just burning games. Just sitting here burning games. And again, it's not personal. I'm not trying to hate on Ryan or anyone else, but there's no denying by anybody's NBA logic that the organization's lost direction. that you're kind of just, it's almost as if you've hit pause and you're just churning.
Yes.
It's like, you're tied up to the dock and the motor's on, but you're not moving because you're tied up at the dock. Like, that's what it feels like.
That's what it feels like
and
to me too.
and you can't tell me that Jazz fans, those of you who are dedicated, committed to this club fans, you can't tell me you're not sitting here saying, man, like, what are the Jazz doing right now? Where's this team going? Because yeah, it does kind of sound like Ryan might be distracted. It does kind of sound like Danny might not have the control that he probably should have. Because, and I know this is crazy.
Not the control, the resources. He doesn't have the resources financially.
But if he had the control, this team would look very different, in my opinion. I don't think this is what Danny H had in mind.
Yeah. Hey, that could be. You could be right. But it's frustrating to me to watch this team unnecessarily flounder.
And I think this all started with the Clarkson situation, even last year, right? Like, I remember talking about this on the show. Hey, if you continue to keep Jordan Clarkson, this team's going to turn left when it should keep going straight. And here we are.
Yeah.
And so, again, just my opinion, but I believe, so let's assume the NHL comes to Salt Lake. Let's assume that whole situation winds up, that new building, Jazz, let's call it the Coyotes, and whatever else happens in that building that they build. Okay, cool. Great. What happens with the Jazz after that? Because if you start spending money after that, that tells me everything I need to know. And that's what I think you can't get away from as an owner. When you're like, I look at the Clippers. Like, the Clippers and Ballmer are like, hey, we wanted our own building. We went and got land. We built our own building, and now it's cool, and we're going to win a bunch of ball games. So what are they doing? They went and got Harden. They're doing a new building, and everything's great. They did it the right way. They won first. They went and got talent. They went and became relevant again. They went and figured out, how are we going to win with Kawhi and PG? Well, it turns out we need to add one more because these two guys are hurt a lot. And now all of a sudden everything's good. And what are they, third in the West, I think it is right now? You're in a good place.
Yeah, I don't know. I think that this was a team that they should have made the playoffs this year. And you can't tell me that you're all in to win. And I know, again, and I think the watershed moment is the fraudulent interview that Ryan Smith did with Pat McAfee.
Mm-hmm.
And the absolute fellatio that took place on that show at that moment. And Ryan loves it, and nobody questions him. And hey, that's all well and good. But none of that was true. And you guys all ripped me when I said that, and I'm saying it now. This team, Ryan Smith's a fraud. Ryan Smith is out here trying to get taxpayer money to build a stadium for a hockey team he doesn't have. And maybe he gets it. Absolutely, maybe he gets it. But don't sit here and tell me that you did everything you could do the last 2 years to win for the Jazz.
The Jazz are hot. We're relevant. Everything's awesome.
You're not. Your uniforms suck. You're not trying to win. You're going to spin this as we're trying to keep a protected draft pick, when in fact you're trying to keep money in your pocket to build a stadium, because you're going to have to pay an NHL entry fee.
Mm-hmm.
You're going to have to pay a relocation fee, and you're going to have to build a stadium. And you're going to use a lot of taxpayer money to do that. And you're going to use money that should have been spent winning NBA games to do that. And then I still don't believe that you're going to go and win. I don't. Like, oh my God, he owns RSL. He's a minority owner at RSL. That has not meant a thing.
Mm-hmm.
What has it meant? Nothing. What is it that he's doing that tells you Ryan Smith is willing to spend any amount of money it takes to win games?
And I think it's an interesting question. If you even if you're, let's say that you love Ryan Smith, let's say that you think he's just done a perfect job. What behaviors would suggest that he's interested in winning a championship right now? And I'm being serious. I'm genuinely asking, hey, if you look at it objectively and say, hey, like what is he doing right now that would even suggest that you're trying to win? Because everyone always says, oh, you guys, you hate on Ryan or you hate on the Jazz. Yeah. Okay. If that's the case, then my question is, what do you see that tells you that this dude's trying to win a championship? Because that's what we were sold. We being the collective media and let's just call it Jazz Nation. That's what we were sold. Hey, we're trading Rudy and Don.
Got to reset the books.
Got to reset the books. Got to get back in a good financial place. Okay, totally on board. Totally agree with that. But then you decommitted from that plan when you kept Jordan Clarkson inexplicably. You have continued to decommit from that plan by trading Ochai Agbaji and Kelly Olynyk, who, by the way, are absolutely torching. I don't know if anyone's seen what Ochai is doing lately for Toronto. Looks great. So let me get this right. You're burning draft capital. You're developing them. You're trading them. You're burning them. And we're just sitting here. And that's what I'm not going to let go.
Yeah, it's
I'm
rough.
not going to let you off the hook when you are doing nothing that suggests you want to win.
Yeah,
That's what I'm saying.
It's something that I struggle with Ryan Smith. And I don't know that I don't know. You unloaded all of your best talent now multiple years in a row. And you're not replacing it. You're not spending money on it. And we can sit here and say, oh, well, hey, Monty, they're trying to tank. For what?
But that's not even would you agree that that's not the message that's being put out?
That's not even the path you're on.
Like, I would be fine with that if you just said, hey, yeah, like we won 35 games last year. We way overachieved. This year, we're going to take a step back because X, Y, and Z. Okay, fine. Cool.
And I don't even, okay. But that's not what if you're tanking, why is Jordan Clarkson still here? Why is Colin Sexton still here? Why is THT still here? I understand Lauri Markkanen. Totally get that. Why are the other guys still here? You're not tanking. You're not tanking. You're not playing. You're not playing. Taylor's not getting 40 minutes a night. You're playing your veterans. Jordan Clarkson's not playing 15 minutes a night. Don't tell me you're tanking, because you're not.
You're doing exactly what most owners do in sports. You are winning just enough to make sure that you've got jersey sales and ticket sales, but you're not going to invest in the team to a point where you would then go to the playoffs and do all this great stuff, because that costs money.
Yeah.
That's what you're doing.
Who are you? The Chicago Cubs? Oh, wait, they won a World Series, and then they refuse to spend money. Big difference.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And again, to wrap this conversation up, I just go back and everybody rips the Lakers or whatever major market team. Everybody rips the Knicks. The Knicks are spending money. The Knicks are spending money on veterans. The Lakers are spending money to add talent to their roster. The Dallas Mavericks go and get Kyrie. I'm trying to think of like the big market teams.
Houston
spend money.
Yeah.
I look at Houston tried to do the young guy route, and now they're adding free agents because they recognize you have to have leadership on your roster. Who's the leader of this Jazz team? You don't have one. You don't have a coach. You don't have an owner, and you don't have a player. Like, for better or for worse, Dallas is Luka's team.
Mm-hmm.
The Lakers are LeBron and Anthony Davis. That's who their team is.
Totally.
Right? You look at the best teams in this league. You've got a very interesting dynamic in Denver that works.
Oh, look at Miami. I mean, it's Jimmy Butler's team, and they've been adding pieces around him for several seasons to try to help him win a championship.
Yeah. I don't know. All I'm saying is I look at all this other stuff, man. The Jazz are not it. The Jazz are not doing it. So I'm just curious.
Yeah.
Where do you guys come down on? Why? What are we talking about? Stadiums for? Stepanik, I hope the Lakers, James has got to be mixed up in this somewhere. I hope the Lakers win, but I don't think they will win anything. They're going to be in series. I don't think there's any doubt about that. Yes, here's James.
Hi, this is James. Welcome back.
The Rose Bowl is not relevant until the bowl game is played. When UCLA plays there, they have a tarp off seats because students have a hard time getting there. UCLA needs a 60,000 stadium seat on campus. Okay.
Buddy, what
why are we talking about stadiums, man?
What does that have Now, Monty, the TARP budget at UCLA is taking a huge hit. And so now students are getting lost. It's really a crime.
Brandon Butler, the Jazz are not running an offense that is Walker friendly. I don't disagree. You got to find a way to get him back into heavy rotational minutes. And I know and I complained he wasn't starting. He's starting. But yeah. It's fine.
Yeah.
It's fine. And donuts. Gonzaga to the Mountain West would make a good basketball conference, borderline great. Thoughts? No, I don't think so. Gonzaga's not going to the Mountain West.
Gonzaga.
Why would they leave the WCC? They're in a better basketball conference already.
Gonzaga.
In my opinion. Gonzaga holding out to see if they will go to the Big 12, which seems to be on again, off again, constantly.
Yeah.
Constantly. On again, off again. Utah State fires their women's basketball coach, then rolls her out for a press conference. Bad look. She's the one that disclosed it. I mean,
yeah,
I would not have had her for a press conference. I would not have. Mike Smith, Dixie State has a PC for their fired coach. This is bizarre. You mean Utah State? Utah State. That's what I'll say. Maury Alvarez. My recommendation for Disney is move there and get a resident pass. It makes it so much more affordable. You can't move any.
Hey, Monty. So to make it more affordable to go to Disneyland, all you got to do is spend your entire life savings on a 1-bedroom shoebox that costs $5 million in LA.
Then you can afford to go to Disneyland. You can. Boston Mapes, the lack of direction, the way they've handled trades, I just don't get it. 2 years of trading players that help win for other teams' scraps.
Yes.
Correct.
So again, Boston, to your point, I don't think we're hating. I think that nobody in that organization wants to admit that they're just doing nothing. They're spinning.
They're in cash saving mode.
They're exactly. They're in eco sport mode right now on the Beamer.
That's right. Exactly right. Wasted. I don't know about that. They were not going to win a playoff game. So they're going to churn and burn players. They're just being realistic. Next season team is going to be way different.
So what makes you think that, though? This is what I'm curious about Jazz fans. And I'm not even disrespecting you, bro. I'm just really genuinely curious. Where do you get the idea that next year is going to be different? I'm trying to understand that.
I don't understand that theory. I don't think it's going to be different.
Like what do you see or hear or notice or observe that would tell you next year is going to be different? Because I'm not confident. Will we have different names on the back of the jersey? Sure. Yeah, I'm sure we will. Absolutely. But I just am not confident that it's going to be different until this NHL situation gets handled one way or the other.
And the roster might be different. It's not going to be championship caliber or heading in that direction. I don't believe that. I don't. Unless Keontae George continues to break out and somehow him and Laurie together and
but look at his next comment right below that, but not better. So different, but not better. So you are agreeing with us.
Yeah. Big Blue Horses. If the Jazz finish in the bottom 10, they don't keep that pick as protected. I don't know the exact protections on it I want to double check before I say Utah Jazz draft picks. Okay. Plurality. Let's see. I think if they finish, where is it? Top 10 protected. If the Jazz land in the bottom 10, the pick gets pushed back to 2025. So we were correct. Same top 10 protection. So it just doesn't, there's no rhyme or reason to what the Jazz are doing. That's what I'm saying. I don't understand it. If you're tanking, why are you tanking? Didn't you do that already for the last 2 years?
Thought so, but
right. That's why, I mean, at 28 wins, you are on the cusp of bottom 10. You're on the cusp of bottom 10. You are, because if you look at Brooklyn's at 26, Jazz are at 28, right? And you're not going to the playoffs. You're 6 games out of a playoff spot with 18, I think, left to play. And you've got 5 in the East behind you. You're on that line. It's going to be tough for you not to be bottom 10. I mean, you're almost locked into bottom 10.
Yeah.
So I don't know. That's just my opinion.
Yeah.
I don't want to linger on it. I get it. I totally get it. A couple more. James, if Monty and Jake like NBA, they should move to Texas. We have the Mavs, Spurs, and Rockets and a lot of heat. And you have a governor in a wheelchair that hates human beings.
And you have a lot of cicadas.
You do have a lot of cicadas. It's very true. And hellacious storms. I don't like the culture around the team. If it feels like we're cultivating a losing culture and I'm not a trust the process kind of fan. Well, you don't have a process to trust.
That's the issue. Like, what process are we even seeing? I honestly, if you said to a Jazz fan, dude, what are the Utah Jazz doing right now? Like, how would you describe what they're doing right now? And I don't think there's any other way to describe it other than, hey, we're just burning time here. That's it.
Yeah. San Antonio was such a great place when I was there in the 80s. And is Ryan Smith a fraud or just incompetent? He's a fraud because he tells you he has built a mystique around him that everything he touches turns to gold. I see a lot of not gold.
Yeah, incompetent is not the word. He's very competent.
He could win right now if he wanted to. And he simply is not going to spend the money because he's trying to bring an NHL franchise to Salt Lake City. And he's trying to build a stadium to facilitate that. And he is trying to get taxpayer money to do it because it's billions of dollars at this point to get it done. Between a building, entry fees, relocation, all of that. We're talking about a lot of money. And I don't think he is truly liquid. He is not a liquid billionaire, in my opinion. Could be wrong. But you don't act the way he's acting if you just have Ballmer money.
Mm-hmm.
If you have Kroenke money. I don't think he's on that level. And that's why I think he's a fraud.
If he was on that level, what would look different, in your opinion? How would that?
You would be spending money. You would be making trades. You would be adding to your payroll.
Yeah.
You would be aggressively pursuing a new stadium. You would be because the Jazz is Delta Center antiquated somewhat. It's certainly feasible as an NFL arena or a NBA arena.
Yeah.
It is not a dual sport arena full time.
No.
You can have your one-off NHL game there. It is not a dual arena full time. It is not. They would need a new facility. And he is focused on getting an NHL team. That's what he wants. So we'll see. He's going to get, I think he is likely going to be a guy that's going to get some Olympic money for his buildings. I think he is a guy that is just going to sit and wait because Jazz fans are going to buy his ugly ass jerseys and they're going to spend money in his arena and
yeah,
because he tells you to. And the media doesn't question him. It's as simple as that. Big Blue Horses. We have never questioned LHM's love of Utah or his commitment to the Jazz. We never did.
Are you saying that we're questioning that with Ryan?
I think a lot of people are starting to question it. I do. Thank you, Jesus, that I'm a sexy Benedict Arnold. I'm a San Antonio Spurs fan. Oh, I bet it comes to Utah in 13 days and he's dropping 30 on the Jazz by halftime. Okay. Marcus Stuckey, hello. Smith acts like he wants the adulation of Jazz ownership without the cost. Oh, I think there's certainly some of that.
Yeah.
I think there's some of that.
Yeah.
San Diego State, Glenn, the Jazz dumping their top talent. Is Oakland A's ownership somehow running the Jazz? Very much could be.
But I don't think I want to be careful how far we take it. I don't think the Oakland A's ownership are garbage. I mean, you're talking about
they want out of Oakland.
Yeah. Like I'm not sitting here saying that Ryan wants out of Salt Lake. That's not it.
Ryan doesn't want to reach into his pocket
and
pull out some cash to pay players. Will that forever be the situation? Likely not. But until this arena NHL thing gets settled, I don't think he's going to reach into his pocket to do anything.
Yeah.
He's not going to do it. He wants taxpayer money, which is absolutely ridiculous. You're a billionaire, and all you've sold us on is your Silicon Slopes relationships. Go get your own money.
Seriously.
Go get your own money. That's the other thing that I'm tired of hearing about. He's an operator. He's got relationships. He's Ryan Smith. He's amazing. Go, Ryan, go to the legislature to get taxpayer money to build your arena. Why? You're a billionaire. You're Mr. Tech guy.
Yeah.
Why? That I don't understand. James, I really like it when Lucas scores 70. That game was great. Okay. How's American Airlines Arena? Stepanik. You have to have a good bench to win a championship. I agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
No doubt. Big Daddy Magic, San Antonio Spurs have the GOAT coach. And they have Victor, the next big thing in the NBA.
Well, I mean, if you mean by height, then yeah.
I mean, length and don't forget the girth. Delaric, if you get a new building for a team but can't win, then it's a waste of a building. Yes, it is.
Yeah. Don't care how many times Taylor Swift does a concert in there, bro.
I would agree with that. Totally agree with that. Dakota, Anthony Davis needs to strip his street clothes and go mad streaking during the postseason.
Okay.
Delaric, a member for 12 months.
Let's go, baby.
Appreciate you. I think the Spurs season was more productive. Well,
agreed.
Got
Victor
the rookie of the
better.
year. He does. John DeLon, UCLA probably couldn't regularly fill a 30,000 seat stadium, and they don't have the real estate to do it. They don't have any space on campus to build a stadium. Wasikowski, Purdue for the tourney this year. Okay. That's amazing. Colorado helped UCLA sell out that stadium last year. Most of the seats were Colorado fans. I agree. Read the next comment, but not better. Yes, we did,
bro.
Did. We did. All right, couple more, and then we got to go. Boston. Do we get a non-sports story today?
How much weed do you guys smoke?
How about this story? Did you guys see? In the comments, do you guys partake in the hippie lettuce? The ganj?
Mary Jane?
So Jake's high school senior project was what?
The adverse effects of smoking marijuana.
So a new study came out that says long-term consistent marijuana use, daily smoking of marijuana, drastically increases your risk of stroke and heart attack.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm wondering, and again,
asking for a friend.
Are we over the marijuana is great for everything? You got a hangnail? Smoke some weed, bro. Oh man, I get migraines. Smoke some weed, bro.
Mm-hmm.
I'm telling you, I'm a contact high guy.
Right.
Sure. I've never smoked weed, and I never will.
All the defenders want to say, hey, it helps with ADHD. It helps with mental things, right? Like it helps lower stress levels. Okay. I'm not denying that or disputing it. Because I agree. I think it does those things. However, that doesn't mean that there's no downsides, whether it's this heart attack angle or whether it's the fact that
it's a gateway drug, bro.
It burns your taste buds. Your taste buds will become more muted if you are smoking regularly. Not to mention the fact, and I don't know how this isn't talked about more, the fact that it's awful for your lungs. You're ingesting smoke. I don't care if that comes from tobacco or marijuana. That's not good for your lungs on any level.
Totally agree.
It's not a, hey, is marijuana good or bad? It is, hey, is the price of the high worth the high? That's the question.
I think that's a huge question. And I think the answer is unequivocally no. Marijuana is terrible for you.
Yeah.
And I know that people love the escape room that marijuana provides. I'm telling you, it's terrible for you.
Yeah.
And is everyone going to have a heart attack if they smoke weed every day? No. Does it dramatically increase your risk? It does. Does it increase your risk for stroke? It does. And I still am a believer, and I am not a doctor. I don't think it's any better for you than cigarette smoke is. And it's what everybody said about vaping. Oh, vaping is a safer alternative. Fuck that, it's not.
Oh, you mean when you vape, you're putting moisture into your lungs?
Hot vapor into your lungs. It's not better for you.
No.
And we've got to find a way to get that message across.
It's crazy.
Boston Mapes, stay off the weed. Exactly. Dakota says, oh, that's sticky icky. Ooh wee. Ooh wee. Big Blue Horses, no hippie lettuce, magic brownies, not even CBD.
CBD is another one, right?
CBD. I use CBD rub for I don't have an ACL in my left knee. So I use it on my knee. Like I think CBD, I don't have any problem with like muscle rub, joint pain. For CBD works. That stuff. My wife is a big believer in CBD.
Yeah.
I think I take it in one form. It's that muscle rub that we get.
Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah.
Don't ingest it. I don't. Yeah. And it does. It works great. Excellent. Very good. Well, Big Daddy Magic. I smoke weed. You die anyway. Okay.
Cool, dude.
Capazzo. Good morning in the GZ. No weed here. The Nye guy says sticky icky. Indeed. Stepanik says I've never smoked weed. Neither have I.
Me either.
And there was a point in my life where I was like, man, I'm missing out. And I never did it. And I'm glad I don't.
Yeah.
I'm glad I did not. It does help antisocial, and I'm very shy. I smoke weed 3 times a day. Damn. 3 times a day. Mike Smith, Mary Jane in the day is not the same as Mary Jane now. No, it's not. No, it's not. Chris E says, Stephen A. Smith, stay off the weed. Okay.
Yeah.
Wasikowski, I avoid urbanites because that's all you smell in every major city nowadays.
I would agree. It's everywhere.
It is everywhere.
And you do smell it regularly, and I hate it.
Yep.
You smell it on golf courses, too, which drives me nuts.
I did vote for Prop 2, though, because I'm sick of people of the opioids dumped on people, and I want to see a different option. But this goes back to that greater conversation. Do we have freedoms or do we not?
Yeah.
You want to smoke weed? Smoke weed. I'm not going to judge you for it. I think opioids are very different. Mm-hmm. Nobody's ever overdosed on marijuana. Fent is very different.
Yeah. It's
but
dangerous.
You want to smoke cigarettes? It's up to you. You want to smoke weed? That's up to you. You want to drink alcohol? That's up to you. I don't believe we don't have freedoms in this country. We've talked about this on the show.
You're going to piss people off, dude.
And donuts. Willie Nelson smoked the herb for over 100 years or so. Didn't seem to hurt him.
Nay, that's great.
Yeah, sharp as attack, that one. Sure it is. Little Jizzy, save your lungs and smoke it through your butt.
Okay.
Why didn't I think of that?
Yeah, I mean, man, wow, you are just
Q Janus.
Incredible.
Mike Smith, Mary Jane results in teen pregnancy and young Jimmy can no longer go out with his friends as he has to stay home and watch the kid. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Mapes has been a member for 14 months, by the way.
Oh, okay. That's, man.
Boston. Oh, look at that. Shouty. Yay. 3 months already.
Let's go.
Appreciate that. Gummy bears are the new thing. Yeah, gummies.
Yeah, gummies.
And edibles, Dakota. Edibles are the way to go. Yeah, The Suddude. Suddude. Here comes the conspiracy nutters. Exactly. Brandon, my opinion is better to let a doctor prescribe it than self-medicate. There are applications for cancer patients, but too many people are using it too casually for skin issues. It is what it is, right?
Yeah.
The CBD for them football injuries hits different. Yeah, apparently it does. There are applications for it. There's no doubt about that. Smoking weed through a bong is probably not that application. I'm just saying.
This is James on Monty Copter 69. Do you guys see that weed field over there next to the stadium?
I just think we all want freedoms and we don't have freedoms.
Yeah.
We all want freedoms and we don't have freedoms. It is what it is. One thing you can do to be free is donate blood. It's a major need in this country. We talk about it every day on the Monty Show. Our good friends at The Advocates, theadvocates.com. The best injury attorneys in the business that are always serving the communities they work in, whether it's Montana, Boise, Phoenix, certainly in the great state of Utah. No matter where you are, get to the redcross.org, sign up to donate blood, use the sponsor code ADVOCATESSLC. Advocates SLC to donate blood in their office in Salt Lake City next week. They're going to have a blood drive 1 to 7 next Monday. Hook it up. Make sure you tell them you heard about it on the Monty Show.
Oh, that's the wrong music. My bad. Wrong music. My bad. Sorry. My bad. Let's show to end. It's too much fun, dude. It was the wrong music. Sorry. My bad.
Loser.
Made a mistake.
I'm kidding. I was contemplating a far more sinister outcome, but it's fine. That's it. Until tomorrow. Say goodbye, Jake.
Goodbye, Jake.